Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am here setting up at least part of my planner lineup for July 2022. So I said July 2022, but really I meant July 2022 through December 2023, or whenever my supplies run out. So it's kind of like hard for me to believe, but we're at that point where 18-month planners are going to be kicking in, and I actually have not purchased any 18-month planners. What I am doing has been organizing my space, decluttering my space, just being aware of all the different things that I have in my space that I really need to use up. And so this series of videos is really me setting up several different planners so that way I can be ready for the July start and, get going. I did set up my lineup, or at least part of what I'll be using for my July planner for my Big Happy Planner, the personal catch-all. And today I'm going to be talking about my budget planner. Now, for budget planning, I guess I'll just start with this thing. This has been my budget setup since January for all of 2022. It's just a set of covers, a set of discs that I've just put together. But what's inside has been an undated budget planner. And so this is what it looks like. I'm trying to move this out so you can kind of see this, right? So this is what it looks like. This is an older version of it where it's a little bit more colorful. It's not the neutral version that's come out. It does have these categories right in here. And so I have been using this on and off. I did use it January and February. I think I used it in March and April as well, but then in May and then in June, these last 2 months, I have not used it. So I do know that I have several months of pages that have just been rolled over from 2022 that I just haven't used. I also have the rest of the 6 months that I haven't used. So I have a total, I think, of 8 months. So let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I only have 6 in here, but I'm pretty sure that's because I took out the dividers for May and June and put them into my Franken planner. But I do have the pages unused in here somewhere. But I know for sure I have 6 months. So let's just put it like that. And so what I'm going to do is for July through December of 2022, I will use these pages. Now, one of the things that I have seen myself kind of doing is like right here for the monthly, I actually have been trying to track my bills on this page, like all the things that are pulled out automatically from my account that are for my house, like just all bills. I do have a couple of other things, other payments that are automatic, but they're not bills per se. They're more so like personal spending, like subscription boxes, that kind of thing. And I think I might need to move those on here as well and just track those things because I am starting to lose track of some of those subscriptions. So I'm going to, moving into July, I'm just going to track everything that's an automatic pull out from my accounts. And so that will land on these pages. It's just a chance for me to make sure that everything gets accounted for. I'm noticing here that the dates are very different. I don't even know why. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be planning to use the monthlies for. I did that for a little bit with bills, and now I'm just adding on to that like online subscriptions or online purchases that are just automatically debited from my account. And so that's the game plan, at least starting in July. You guys know if you've been around here, I change it up pretty much every month. So this is my plan for July, but we'll see how it goes moving forward. Now, I use this sheet, and I have been using this consistently pretty much every month except for May and June. But for several months, I use this to track like the overall dollar amount, like the maximum budgeted amount that I have for each of my categories. And so I do fill this out. I do roll over my money from every month. So like starting in January, I set my budget essentially for the entire year, and I just break it up by months. And so I every month just come in here and write the monthly amount, like that's like the total yearly amount divided by 12. And so I put that amount here, and I just track at the beginning of every month how much I have in each envelope or each category. And so if I have leftover money from January into February, I just take what I budget each month plus the additional rollover money, and then it just adds up over time. And so in July, I actually need to come in here and reconsider some of the categories. There are some categories where I have a lot of extra money, and I don't need quite so much money in those categories, and then some other categories that I feel like I need to beef up. And so I'm going to be doing a separate video of just kind of like budgeting and walking through my numbers and like kind of recalculating where my budget is at the mid-year point. And then I do use this sheet over here to track different things. I normally block this out just because I'm tracking some personal numbers here, like big numbers that I have with like my house note and some other major things. And so those dollar amounts end up on here, and I just kind of block those out. And so that's there. I also do a little bit of like budgeting with my mom, and so some of her numbers end up on here too. So anyway, I do track some of those numbers here. I will in July be going back to this planner, and so I plan to do the same thing here that I've been doing in previous months for this page. But it's just a chance for me to kind of have a running tally of like where certain dollar amounts are in each account. Okay, and then these pages, they're listed as weekly expenses, but I've never used these as weekly expenses. What I actually use them for are daily expenses. It's just like a checkbook register for me. I white out these categories, put the date, put what I purchased, put the dollar amount, and then these two categories, it says need and want, but I don't use them like that. This need category, I always convert to a like category. So it's just like the category or the envelope that it needs to be budgeted from. So like if I go, for example, to McDonald's, that would come out of my food budget. And so I would just put food right here. And then this category is where I have like a mini checkbook, like countdown. And so this is where I take the dollar amount, this dollar amount, and deduct it from my total in that cash envelope, which I put here at the beginning of the month. And so over time, I'll know exactly how much should be in each envelope. And so that's what I do on these pages. Sometimes I fill out this section with like these different prompts. Sometimes I don't. But I've noticed in previous months that I don't actually use 4 sheets worth of weekly expenses or like these pages, just because I fill it out all the way until the very end, and I don't really worry about like breaking it out by a week. And so once I fill it down to the bottom, I just move to the next sheet. And some months I only use like 2 sheets, some I use 3, but I hardly ever use 4. And so I have a couple of extra sheets of these. And yeah, so they're just kind of like, they've been rolled over. This page I've sometimes used to like kind of recalculate budgets and like think about numbers and like financially where I am and just kind of journal about some of that stuff. I've done that I think 1 month. But normally I don't use this at all for anything. I don't use this for anything. I don't use this for anything. And so you can see that there are a couple of pages that I just don't use each month. And so these pages are all at this point intact. And so I'm going to flip back here to the end. And what I have here at the end, all right, here's this set right here. And this is like the very last page, okay, of each section. And then here, I've stored all the pages that I have not used, all right? And so I have, I think, in here enough for, as I mentioned, like 8 months worth. And so I'm going to be using this planner from July until December for sure. And any unused pages will just end up back here, and I will use these pages starting in January of 2023. And some of these are, you can see here, some of these are actual like pages with like running logs, but some are like the note pages and some are just the blank pages. And so I'll be doing a little bit of converting of some of these pages into a true budget system that works for me. Mostly it'll be just kind of like taking this info and taking this info and just kind of like creating my own columns for those things. But I'm going to be using these pages until they're done. I also know that in my space somewhere, I have additional budget sheets. I have been organizing my space, as I've mentioned in multiple videos recently. I have been like on a huge decluttering and organizing spree. I do know that I have probably another extension pack somewhere in my space. Actually, I do know that I have another extension pack. Let me try to find that right now, actually. So like I said, I've been organizing my space. I was able to put my hands on this like pretty much right away. But I have this, let me see, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, is it 7? I don't know if it's 7 or not. But I'm actually gonna go ahead and like, look at this. This is like notes from like forever ago. I need to put that somewhere else. Right, so obviously this divider will do me no good at this point. All right, I like to keep my dividers in order. So you can see here, this is a second divider. I wonder how I should do this. Like this is me like doing this on the fly as we go here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is actually use this divider. The divider itself works, but this sheet had like notes on it. So I need to figure out what all that is. All right, I'm gonna put this divider back here. Or I might have to use a different divider, but I think this one is okay. It's gonna separate all of my extra sheets here. And then I don't actually like it when dividers like go out of order. And so I'm going to, like, this is the last of the dividers. It's a second tab divider here. So I'm going to start with the third tab here. I'm going to put this in here. Then I'll put the fourth one. I'll go back and flip through the entire thing for you in just a second. This is an extension pack. This is actually like their first version of a budget planner or a budget extension pack. And then here we have a second tab divider. And then these two are a 1 and a 2, which I actually really don't like that. I'll probably have to change out these dividers, all right? But this is the setup right now. Okay, so at this point I have, let's see, my extra dividers for my cash envelopes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 6 of the old one that will get me through basically July and December to December. And then starting in 2023, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I guess if I'm starting over in a brand new year, I know I just did this, but if I'm starting over in a brand new year, I can have these. Like at the beginning of a year, I do switch over. And like my tabs can start over because it's a brand new year. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. Now, with that, then this is what this one looks like. This page right here is super clean and it looks like this, but it's a little bit different because like right here, what we have is bill pay checklist and it says payment name. I have bills obviously, but I would use my monthly to track automatic bills. And so this again, I would just convert to a checkbook register where I'm just listing what I purchased. I don't need due date, but I would use it for the date, the amount, and then paid. I don't know how I would convert this. I might have to split up and have like a second column here, but I'm going to try to use this. Again, like this will be okay, well, here are the pages that I need. All right, so I don't know what I would do with these. So this is where I would actually use some of these things, right? So the date and the amount, obviously, and then here's the description. Here, I would convert these. I would probably convert these to some of the major categories that I have. And then the only thing that I would be missing is like kind of a running tally of like whether I have like what dollar amount I have in each category. So this will be something that I can use. It comes with 4 of those sheets, actually 5 of those sheets. And then at the end of each month, it has a budget review for the month and then a month at a glance, which is like a really nice breakdown of like the different budgeted categories. So I do like that. There have been different versions of it, including in the new planner, this page, right? So it's kind of like that, just a little bit laid out a little bit differently. Like a lot of these categories I just don't use, you know, but that is that planner and it looks the same for every month, right? So I have 6 months of that. Now I'm prepared for July through June. And what I need at this point is to probably use some of my extras here. Definitely need to like use these up. So I'll just like flip it over. And one of the things I might do is kind of like switch back and forth between these instead of having it just be one single one and then like flipping over into a completely different one. I might just like alternate between them. But then at this point, I'm basically in June of 2023 and I need another 6 months worth. And so what I have pulled is all of my Skinny Classic stuff. Now I have a bunch of these covers you can see here. And what I'm thinking would work for me, I'm just gonna use a random set. Actually, I'm not gonna use that set. I'm gonna use this set because I love this this cover. This was a Mother's Day purchase from a couple of years ago, not this 2022 Mother's Day, but 2021 Mother's Day. And this cover is like the match for this one, I think. And so what I'm gonna do is at this point, basically just plop in all of these random Skinny Classic pages that I found. Now, this is not all of my Skinny Classic supplies. I do have, you can see here, a bunch of covers, but I also have like lots of filler paper that I have stored, organized, like, and it's all like super neat and organized right now. These are all just like the leftover pieces that I have not organized. And so I'm going to put them in here so that way I can use them. And the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at my dividers here. I don't think I have all of them. In fact, I know I don't have all of them because I haven't used this planner. So I do have some dividers here, right? So it's January, February, March, April, May, June, and then July, September, October, November, and December are missing, right? But what I'm gonna do is start with, I basically can use August. Like August I've written on, you can see here. All right, so I'm gonna use just August, but I need a July, all right, I just gotta like do this. All right, so what I'm gonna do is use some of these dividers that I have just cut down. I will put the August one in here just because it flows. But I'm gonna pull a couple of other random ones that I've just cut down to size. Now these are plastic dividers that I just trimmed to be the correct size for a skinny classic. And you can see like the sayings are cut off, and you know, it doesn't always work, but I think it's totally fine. Try to find one if you're going to cut down classic dividers for skinny classic. Try to find ones with like patterns, not with like quotes on there, but like patterned like designs or like these repeating sayings, so then it doesn't look quite so like off, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm gonna put all these dividers in here, and I think I now have 7, right? So I'm going to stop at this point, all right? I want to get all of this in here though. I'm just gonna put it all in here, all right? So it'll be going even beyond 2023 at this point. You know, if you follow along on my channel, that I change it up all the time. So this is just my setup for right now, but it's definitely not going to stay like this. It definitely does not stay like this all the time. You know, I change things up all the time. Now I do have in here an envelope, which I can actually take this out. There's a carnival something or another in here, which I can toss probably, but this envelope gets stored with all the rest of my envelopes, so that can go in there. And then once I take all this off, I can put the mini discs into my little disc collection. Little being like a little bit of an understatement. I have a very large disc collection. And then these pages are like old, they're outdated skinny classic pages. And what I'm gonna do at this point, like again, I might at some point alternate between these different things instead of just going from like the budget planner to the budget extension pack to the skinny classic. I might alternate and just kind of go back and forth between these things. But what I do for this is for each day, I just have a running to-do list, or like not running to-do list, but I just mark each day what I spend, all right? And so some days I don't spend, so I'll have a no spend day, and I'll just mark what I spend. It'll be the same thing where I have the date, well, the date's already here, but like I'll put the category, the dollar amount, and then the category it comes from, and again, still missing like where I would track or have like a running tally of what is in each category. But this is why when with like at least the second one and this one, it's why like having cash envelopes really works for me, because I can like pull out of the cash envelopes and like use my prop money to be aware of that. So I don't actually have to like just calculate it on paper like this. I can actually see it in the envelopes. And even though I'm using prop money, it just makes sense for me. Now what I'm gonna do is at this point, these are all just like random, outdated. They're not in, well, they are in order, but like they are kind of just mixed up in here. So like I have January, February, right? And some months like don't even have the monthly. I'm just gonna stick them all behind the first divider, and I will use them as needed. And so once I start getting into this part of the planning, whether I wait until 2023 to do it or whether I decide to alternate, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, what I will do is just kind of like redate and kind of talk through the entire process at that point, okay? And so I have a bunch of these pages, which I'm gonna stick in there, all right? And then I also have, set to the side, you might have seen this a little bit earlier, but I have the cover page for it, like these pages, so I'm gonna stick that in there as well. Actually, I'm gonna stick it in the front. That makes it really nice and pretty with the hello page. I have a couple of pages. This is from a like super old, like really old, I think it was the foodie recipe planner. It was like a notebook, and I cut this down to kind of demonstrate that you can cut it down to have like a very similar style to the Hobonichi Weeks, but I never used these pages. So I have like just literally like 2 of these pages, and then I have this one like checklist page, and all of this stuff I'm just gonna stick in here. I'm just going to convert and just use these things up. Like I really just wanna use this stuff up, right? I also have this stuff, which is a school assignments kind of thing from the Dollar Tree. And in fact, I pulled this to put in here because it's all skinny classic size, but I just don't think this will work in here. So I'm actually going to set this aside and probably stick it into my work planner. I think I'm gonna do that. And then here, I can't use everything, you know, but here are some pages that are a student block layout, the color block layout, the student planner. And this comes with 7 days, right? And I actually was using this to convert it into like a 2 weeks at a time. So this one has 7 blocks across, or like down the row. This is the older version. Nowadays it comes only with 6 blocks down down a specific day, but with these 7 you can actually use it to like create monthlies. And so I guess I'm not going to put this in here either. I got to figure out a different project for that. These were all the things that were just like randomly in the Skinny Classic stuff that I pulled out just to look at. All right, and then the only other thing that I have kind of set to the side here are all of my Skinny Classic dividers that are still left. And what I'm going to do is just stick them in here. Oh wait, no, I have a whole nother thing here. Okay, so this is, forgot this was in here. Okay, so this is some old like cloth and paper, like to-do list stuff. And they're a little bit shorter, like less wide. They're skinnier. What am I trying to say here? They're a little bit skinnier than the Skinny Classic, but it's enough of the same size that I'm going to put them in here. All right, I'm gonna put them in here. I've just, at this point, just divided it into like each little section of stuff gets its own divider, but you know, it's like just in here for me to use. All right, and then the last little set are just the rest of the dividers. I might have a couple of other things that I'll end up adding in here, but for right now, it's basically a totally crazy random mix of like all the things. I'm just going to put them in here, try to use it up, and know that this is my budget planner, all set up for basically 2022, the rest of 2022, all of 2023, and probably some of 2024, just depending on how much of it I use, don't use, whether I decide to alternate. Some of that might like end up being shuffled around and I might not be able to use all of it within a single month. Some pages I just won't use. So all of that will be like, as I go on a monthly basis, I'll make some of those decisions. But for right now, I am ready for my budget planning starting in July. So we will do one last flip through because I feel like it was all over the place. But essentially, I combined 3 different things into this planner to make it work for me. So starting off from the very beginning, cover discs are just randomly put together. I like to mix and match my discs and my covers. And so this is the Sophisticated Fools cover that I absolutely love. I love it for budget planning just because it doesn't look like a budget planner. That's just me though. And then, I don't know, I just love the look of it. I have a couple of dividers here. These were created for my cash envelopes, but I might, just looking at the style of these, I might just cut them down to be Skinny Classic dividers some point in the future. And so we have the first little section, which is a 6-month planner, 6 months left of a 12-month planner. That is this layout right here. And I've talked about like how I convert this, or like how I'll basically use it. There's no conversion really of those things. And so this is the second divider. Kindness costs nothing. Let me look at this. You got this. Okay. So kindness costs nothing. Same pages right there. Girls just want to have funds. My debit card is starting to feel like a gift card. Not really sure how much is on this, but let's give it a try. That is really a terrible message for a budget planner. But yeah, like hopefully you're doing better with your budget planning, and that's actually, you are well aware of what's in your debit card, like what's in the bank for you. Spend now, save now, don't spend now. Save now, spend later. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. That is absolutely true, and why I love budget planning. All right. And then those were 6 months. Then here's another 6-month extension pack. This is even older than this version of the budget planner. So this is the very first budget extension pack that the Happy Planner released. So this one just has a $sign. Very neutral, like monthly page, 2 bill pay checklists, and then 4 pages of expense trackers, which I will need to convert some of that. And then a 5th expense tracker, so 5 expense trackers, a budget review for the month, and the month at a glance for the entire month, which is really nice, but some categories I just don't use. And then I have 5 more months of this, so stop wishing, start doing, with the same pages. This one is just a nice, like, clean pattern, right? Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Again, a nice, like, polka dot pattern. This one says live well. Right, so those were the 6 months of that one. Then I used this divider budget planner. This is the one that's on the front of this 6-month extension pack, by the way. So this is what it looks like on the front. And then I have in here just all the extra pages that I haven't been able to use in previous months. So this will probably be enough to get me through at least, you know, a month or 2 of budget planning, right? And so that is here. And I will, as I go through the months and realize I'm not using pages, I'll just add them into this section just to try to use them up, right? And then once I finish that, here's my 3rd section, which is all the random Skinny Classic stuff that I have in here. And so it has the actual Sophisticated Florals Skinny Classic pages, and then some random dividers that I cut down to size. But here's the actual planner pages. It is just a collection of all the pages that I haven't used. I know I have other pages somewhere. I'm pretty sure they are stored with my wellness planner, which is, I was trying to use it for 2022. So you might see that in an upcoming video. I might still try to use it too, but these pages are in here. And then I do have some of the Sophisticated Florals dividers, but this one has literally just the one sheet right here that I'll try to use. This divider cut down, not Sophisticated Florals, and I have a couple of foodie recipe notebook pages in there, again, just to try to use them. Cut down another divider, and then these are the cloth and paper like checklist. Some of this, obviously, I will have to convert, and so those videos will come up, as I've mentioned, when I start like actually putting it down each month and like start planning my budget planning for the month. And then the rest of this is just dividers that I've cut down. So I wanted to show you what I've got. Some I do flip upside down, you can see here. But then here we have the actual Sophisticated Florals dividers that I've saved. Let us live like flowers, wild and beautiful and drenched in sun. This one's so gorgeous. And some of these, if I don't use them in here, I might cut down for like micro covers. That is actually one of the reasons why I saved some of these covers. Like this one would be a beautiful like micro cover. All right, dreams are for chasing. Did this one have a quote? Yeah, it said bloom with grace. This one, dreams are for chasing. All right, and that's that. All right, so it's 3 different planners just kind of combined in here. And it's all set up for at least a little while. And so I know it was kind of like an all over the place kind of video, but I really do love to be able to be organized enough to know what I'm planning to use and have a plan for the things that I want to use. Even though month by month, I do change my mind quite a bit. My Franken planning system always is like evolving, and there's always different things happening with how I budget plan and how I plan in general. But with budget planning, with all the different sections of my budget of my Franken planner, I do try to at least be aware and set up a system that will work for me for at least a year out. And so now that we're reaching July and we're about 6 months away from 2023, I wanted to go ahead and set up the next 18 or so months, 18 plus months of a planner, so that way I will know what I want to use, how I will use it. And so this video is really helpful for me to be able to just kind of like talk through some of that. And even though I might change it month by month, it at least is, there's a plan. There's a plan in place. So this is what my budget planning will look like. Again, every month it will change a little bit, and so there's a lot of adapting that might have to happen with my budget planning. So those videos will be coming out as I record them, as each month comes by. But I hope you enjoyed this video, the setup video for my budget planner. I hope it gives you some ideas for how to use your supplies, adapt your supplies, really think about like what you're doing with like considering what will move you into the next year. So if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video. Bye guys.